experience I want to share with you today is the experience of the illusory world. And every day, as I sit by myself and I look back at life, I realize that how the whole journey of life has been a gradual process of detachment. At first, the process has been of attachment. All our life, we have been growing tentacles and getting attached to the world. All relationships that we have built over a period of time with either people or with objects have naturally existed. But in those relationships, we have somewhere unknowingly and most naturally, we have added a very strong emotion to it or an energetic cord in those relationships, which we refer to as attachment. The word attachment by itself actually means as a very natural attraction or closeness or fondness with people or with objects of the world. But it does not really explain to us what this attachment is all about. It seems that we are able to bring a lot of our emotion, which we perhaps mistakenly call it as love or attraction or closeness, and add a feeling around it. And that feeling creates energetic bonds. It creates energetic ties. And those ties and those bonds that we create then develop very strong hooks. And like that, we keep creating these hooks everywhere, all around us, with friends, with family, with relatives, with even pets. And that is what creates this illusion, what we call as the world. And that illusion becomes so strong that we keep getting sucked and pulled into it continuously. And we don't even know it because we believe that's what this world is about. Because that is how we see everyone around us. And that is how we have grown up in this world, watching everybody in that framework of society, in the framework of our families. And therefore, we naturally ourselves very willingly create those bonds. And because we do not realize, because no one has told us that these are the bonds that create such a strong illusion or maya, that the rest of our lifetime, as we start to get the understanding and insight of what this life is about, it becomes an such a difficult exercise, almost an impossible exercise of getting out of those attachments. So, so the whole of life is either goes in attachment or in when we awaken or when we realize in detachment. And we do not realize unless we start detaching that how much pain we have gone through in those attachments. All our hurt, all our pain, all our disappointments, all our anger, all our frustration, all our anxieties, they have all been born out of our attachments. And whole of our life, we are like a magnet. I think the gravitational pull should be called as the law of attachment, because everywhere we just keep getting attached. And these attachments are, just they just naturally grow upon us. And pain and hurt and getting out of that becomes really a challenge for each one of us. How to live a life of detachment. So, as I was saying, when I look back at life, as soon as the understanding started to come that we are immortal consciousness that takes a form only to experience, not just to know, but to experience that this consciousness is and it remains with the body or without the body. And body is a vehicle for us to experience this consciousness. But what comes in the way of this experience is our attachments. And they make things seem and appear almost real. So real that we believe in them, we invest in them, and we get so strongly enmeshed in them that to extricate ourselves from it becomes really a gargantuan task or an almost impossible task. And that is what the first line of Asato Ma Sadgamaya talks about, that the journey of life is about this movement from the unreal to the real. The unreal, which we call as the world, which consists of all our attachments and relationships with people and objects, which we consider to be real. And the rest of the journey is through gaining the right knowledge, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, to remove this ignorance that what we consider as real is actually unreal. And when the light of knowledge comes into our life, we move towards the whole understanding that I am that immortal consciousness. So, this phrase completely and very beautifully describes the journey of an individual consciousness in its journey towards becoming the universal consciousness. And I have experienced that as I was exposed to this, not out of my choice, as the understanding started to come, events started to occur in my life that made me detached. I don't think I'm sure I was seeking it, uh, but had it not been forced on me, I would have perhaps found it difficult to detach by myself. But I guess consciousness wanted me to become an example for everyone, so that I could experience it firsthand. I could share it with all of you and tell you that how, while this journey is painful of detaching, yet whatever I am today and whatever I am experiencing would have never happened had I not gone through what I was forced to go through. Now, what is it that I'm feeling today? I am feeling almost that I live in a magical world or a magical land where things happen almost at my will. Now, when I say my will, that itself is a fallacy because there is no will left of my own. But yet, it's just crazy that in that stillness, a thought comes, and it comes with so much of clarity. And before you know it, it is getting manifested through completely unexpected ways and through unexpected people. So it's as if the idea to its manifestation or its completion, the consciousness has already constructed it of how it's going to unfold before even the thought gets planted in me. And life becomes so effortless because you're not putting any thought at all on how things are going to happen, and that if you need to do something about it. And there is no longer, earlier there used to be doubts, there used to be conflicting ideas and thoughts used to come, there used to be choices that were made available to you, and you did not know, you were never confident about deciding what is right or wrong. You always had doubt, and that's the reason why we perhaps run to a guru. We always run to a guru because we are asking questions from the guru. We want answers from the guru. What should I do? Some people use chits. They put in front of Swami's picture a chit, and yes and no. Okay, because we are not confident, we have doubts. We come to a master, we are asking questions always. Why? Because we are not sure, we are not confident. Now this confusion completely goes away when you come into the experience of that one consciousness. There's no doubt left, there is no question left. Issues and challenges will still come to you, but they come with such clarity, and the surrender to that consciousness is so complete that you are absolutely clear that whatever has to happen is happening, and whatever is being prompted to you is the only solution that exists. And even when you are applying that solution, you're still open to any possibility. So that if in the next moment or in the next day something else comes up, you're absolutely open to it, because it's not your mind, it is not your idea, it's not your thought. You have no association or no attachment to the thought also that this is how it should be, because you are you're okay either ways, because there is no fear left, because there is absolute clarity that you are that one consciousness, And whatever is happening is absolutely correct. So the questions start to disappear, the doubts start to disappear, and the flow starts to happen. And when the flow comes in, of course, everything magically starts to resurrect itself. And things just happen at will. Now, that is the present state. But to reach that state is a state, as I said, of detachment, of going through almost fire. And I'm sharing this with you is because I feel that we must understand why those challenges and why that problem comes in our life. What is it trying to do for us? Is it a problem that we need to get worried about? Or is it actually a celebration that something good is coming out for us? Somebody up there is thinking about us and making things happen for us and is forcing us to get detached. If I look back at my life, and especially ever since I came to Mudanahalli, or I came to Swami in the subtle form, or if I go back to Swami in the physical form as well, all I have seen is that one has been subjected to challenge after challenge in one's life. It's been almost like, if you look back at it, uh, I was asked to get rid of my work, um, losing loved ones, mother, father, wife. Uh, I was asked to let go of my property, home. I was asked to come and live in a university, in a one-room hostel, in a, though it was part of our country, however, the climate, the food, the language, and live in a one room in a hostel and teach for the first time, being asked to teach and to teach those subjects that you had never ever read in your life, right? Now, what else can you be exposed to in terms of challenges that come to you? You're asked to let go of all that you have, come empty handed, from a lavish living to a frugal living, and eat the food that burns your belly, live in a hostel where you've been so spoiled that you've never been to a hostel, and to do that work which you have never done before in your life. And what made me come across all that was only a feeling of absolute surrender, because my Lord had told me in Puttaparthi that you and I are one. And I never doubted that. And just that feeling of oneness allowed me to laugh through all these experiences. Yes, it was tough. It wasn't easy. And then for the next 3 years, almost 2.5 years, I am in Mudanhalli here. I came from Gulbarga, and I am living almost in isolation. I do take some classes and sessions here and there, but you were asked to let go of whatever was still remaining. The Lord will not let you be unless you become nothing. And we've spoken about this, that the whole journey to become one with everything is the journey to become a nobody and nothing. And that means you have to let go of every idea, every thought, every belief which attaches you to anything and everything. You have to be open to all possibilities without having attachment to either the result of your action or having an attachment to a particular way of being. Where you are happy to be in whichever way you find yourself, in whichever place you find yourself. That means having absolutely no mind of your own. But to reach that point, you are asked only one thing by the consciousness: to let go, to simply let go. Let go of all these tentacles, these hooks, and these attachments that we have put to people, objects, ideas, thoughts, notions, beliefs, even faith. Just let go. And suddenly, all the cloud, all the matrices, all this make believe world of people, of marriages, of uh, ashrams, of guru, of a world outside, politics, what's happening, with the virus, everything seems to be either like a dream or like a play or like a movie which you watch, and afterwards you feel, it was just pure entertainment. And that is where real clarity of yourself, it comes, where there is no need to run anywhere. On Thursday, uh, we had a satsang here after a long time, as Sadhguru had come back after his travels. uh, I did not have any urge. There was some work that came to me, and I had no urge to go and attend that session, because you suddenly feel freed from this urge also of any physical association and of being somewhere. You know with clarity that where you are and what you have to do is irrespective of anything that your mind is telling you. Oh, I've got to be there. I must do this. What will others think? What am I supposed to do? Right? All this is coming from the mind. And I have been using this word called knowingness. The clarity that comes when you surrender to this higher consciousness makes you know everything, where all doubts cease, where all questions end, where you are, as we talked about last time, is a state of beingness. In that beingness, in that state of abidance, everything comes out so clearly, so beautifully to you, and all the fog, all this delusion with which we have been caught, it starts to lift away magically. And as sometime during this week, through someone, Swami sent a message to me in some conversation with someone. Swami, my name came up, and Swami said, "Oh, that fellow is a sannyasi." Uh, so I was told that Swami called me a sannyasi. And I knew it was a message for me. because the next day, the video of the fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita came, where he talks about who is a sannyasi. And he very beautifully said that a sannyasi is not a person who wears ochre robes, who shaves his head, who goes in a forest, or who goes in a mountain. Sannyasi does not mean that you leave your family and your your things. But a sannyasi is a person who lives in this world and yet is not attached to anything in this world. And that is when truly, so we all have this idea that we have to leave things, and therefore how difficult it is. That's not true. All that we are being asked to do is to cut the energetic cord that we have with everything around us, which hooks us to this matrix, which hooks us to this make believe world, which we call as real. We will still have to negotiate with this world. We will still have to negotiate with these people. And so, therefore, as in today's morning message, what is it that we are supposed to do when we come into this world? He's told us that you have to do your duty, which is your dharma or righteousness, and you have to take the path of truth. So, in making these right choices based on truth, if we keep doing our duty towards our family, towards our society, towards all beings, without having any particular attachment to any result or how people react and respond to us, if we just walk on that path, we will be walking on the path of detachment. When the expectations will end and we will do things because we are supposed to do them, when that moha or that particular energetic cord that we bring in either in our action, in our expectation, in the way people respond and react to us, or we would like people to respond in a certain way and do things as we ask them to do, when we let go of all those ideas and we continue to walk on this path of truth and righteousness and stop expecting anything from anyone or anywhere, love starts to bloom, understanding comes in, compassion comes in, and we start to realize, we start getting disconnected from this make believe world and we come into the world of clarity. We get the experience of that clarity, and you step into what I defined at the start, the experience of that magical world of manifestation, of the understanding when we say I am I, or we say aham brahmasmi, or we say tattvam asi. These are great statements of wisdom, but they remain at an intellectual level because we do not have the experience. And all experiences, all challenges, all so called problems that we consider only come in our life to take us away from this make believe world. Every experience has been actually decided by us even before we come here. Every relationship has been brought in this world only to either be a test or an enabler. There are only two choices. They will either come as enablers to help us to reach that understanding and that experience, or they will come as a test to us, right? Because every time you understand something, to know that you have progress, you must be tested. And therefore, the relationships and the situations and challenges only come for these two purposes, either to help us. Actually, ultimately, even the test comes only to help us. So everything that's happening, if you understand that everything that's happening in our lives is only to take us to the goal of the realization of the truth of who we truly are, the ever expansive consciousness. And if everything is consciousness, then consciousness itself is the reason for something. Consciousness is the vehicle of making something happen, and consciousness itself is dealing with it. Do you understand? On all the three sides, in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, it's only consciousness. So, where is the question of individual effort? Where is the question of individual idea? Where is the question of wanting to make something happen? It's all a one uninterrupted flow of consciousness. And the only thing that's obstructing that flow is the mind. And as soon as we are able to step back from this mind, there is only flow left. So letting go of all that's holding us back is the effort that's required. And that's all that we need to do. There is no particular knowledge, there's no particular book that we have to do, read. At every moment, life is only full of moments, millions and millions of moments, but they all present to us in the particular instant as this particular moment, as present, as presence. So, if in this present moment we can remind ourselves and remain in the awareness that I am that consciousness and I'm not attached to anything, I am a free spirit, I'm birthless, I'm ajanma, I haven't taken any birth, neither there is any death for me, because I am that eternal consciousness. It's just that this particular time, this body is tapping that consciousness. And once you come in contact with that consciousness, you understand that the body was only a vehicle to experience it. All fear just drops in an instant. So when I don't have fear for myself, how can I have fear for my children or my husband or my wife or my society or the world? Because everything is consciousness. And for everybody who's struggling today, whether it's your husband or your wife or your children or your politicians or whoever, each one is only on that journey. And everybody has ultimately got to reach that understanding and experience. And that's what this whole idea of life is all about. And each one of us is on a different stage of that experience. And as the vibration of the planet is changing, as we are moving into a more beautiful times, detachment is becoming more easier, is becoming less of an effort. The circumstances are enabling us to step into that experience of how beautiful and how magical this world is when the energetic bonds in which we have so badly got entangled when we start to move out of them. And if we keep reminding, you see, we have to be very careful. I've shared this in the past. We have to be very careful about the words that we use, about the language that we use. Even if you do not mean things and you say things jokingly, your consciousness is not able to separate between a joke and what you're saying, with all seriousness. It's just feeling it. It's just getting, what you're saying. So let's be very careful with the words that we choose, because that expresses itself. It manifests itself in our life. Everything can be worded either very positively or as a negative experience. If we can start choosing those words carefully and we start to make that proposition into a positive proposition, that itself starts to change things for us. The world is full of problems and chaos, is one way of putting into context what's happening. The other way is the world is going through a great learning and a process of understanding. Same thing, looked at it with a completely different viewpoint. I'm having some most amazing experiences that make me wonder why I am so attached to my relationships. Okay, it's a very positive reinforcement. Or instead of saying, I am so emotionally involved and all my energy is sucked by, you know, my loved ones. So if we start to get, so that so the whole empowerment lies in the moment, in that awareness, and in that awareness, what language, what words we use. And if we understand it's all about our emotions, and if we can start to cut our emotional ties, we can still do our work very efficiently. We can still perform our dharma. We can still say the truth. But we do not, if we start cutting out those energetic bonds, it will start to help each one of us. So I wanted to share that today and tell you that uh, the way I am experiencing life these days is a life where everything, all around me, I only see drama. And I see that I am so disconnected and so far away. Physically, I am there, but I'm so far away from the drama that's unfolding that it has now lost its power on me. Earlier, I used to get so impacted by the world around me, but now I realize I am the world by itself, and everything around me is just dancing as per my consciousness. Because my consciousness was clouded, I was having challenges. But because I am clear light, I'm only spreading light around me, and I see that light clearly coming back to me. That's the world I see. That's the world I live in. And today I'm inviting all of you to experience this light in your life. And I hope that these experiences will deepen. These words will carry a, and create an energetic channel inside each one of you. And we all step out without any fear out of all these attachments that are holding us back. It is just amazing to be free. So I send you a lot of love and thank you for being part of this beautiful journey. And I look forward to now hearing from all of you. Thank you so much. So much love and light. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.